All right, well, we'll start with introductions. So my name is Travis Howell. I'm the marketing manager for HL Flake and International Key Supply and our family of companies. And I'm joined today by John Greening. John, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm John Greening. I'm with GMS. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing.
And John, where are you joining us from?
Minneapolis.
All right. And then Wayne.
Came off the ground yesterday, so.
Oh, okay. Starting to warm up.
Getting warm.
And then Wayne, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Wayne with Tri-County Locksmith Service, and I'm going to be hosting the class today on GMS restricted MX cylinders. And I'm from Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and just enjoy working with HL Flake and GMS and bringing this information to you guys. So happy to be here.
So I'm going to start with just a short introduction on our family of companies, just to be sure everybody's kind of aware of who we are and where we're at. Because I know there have been some changes over the last couple of years, and so I'm going to share screen here. So we are now 4 companies that have combined forces: HL Flake Security Hardware, International Key Supply, McDonald Dash Locksmith Supply, and HE Mitchell Company. And between those 4 companies, we now have 5 locations. And our goal is to try to get closer to more of our customers. We're really wanting to get more of our customers into the 1 and 2 day zone. And our goal with these companies and locations is to get everybody onto one accounting system so that you, the customer, have visibility to all of the products that are in all of the locations. And we're most of the way there. We added Portland to our system about 2 weeks ago. So now all of the all the products that are in Portland are visible on hlflake.com. And visible to all of the salespeople. The last step will be to add International Key Supply, which is in Farmingdale, New York. We'll be bringing them in really near the end of the summer. And at the same time, we're also, while International Key Supply has primarily been an automotive locksmith distributor, we're bringing more and more commercial and access control and residential hardware to that location to service all of the customers up in the Northeast. And so, let's see here. One of the real benefits that we as a family of companies try to bring to the market is a broad product offering that ranges really from all of automotive that's available to access control, commercial and residential hardware. We really pride ourselves on having one of the largest inventories of padlocks in the nation, as well as safes and all of the locksmith tools, and a wide variety of key machines. So really, it's our wide product offering is one of the main benefits that we try to bring to our customers. So just to talk about, what are the values that we bring to our customers? Of course, it is, again, that large selection. But then it's also having those items actually on the shelf so that we can deliver them to you quickly. And we, our goal and what we do every day is we promise that when you place the order today, we're going to ship it today. And we have a fairly late cutoff time. Here in Houston, it's 5 p.m. Central. So on the East Coast, it's a little earlier than that. We advertise 3 p.m. East Coast. So it's that speed of getting the products that you need to you quickly, but then also we strive to be reliable in that when you place an order, that you're actually going to get the item that was on that order, so that you can, schedule your work accordingly. And we also, we want to have knowledgeable sales staff that is not only here to take your order, but also help you, with solutions. So we also have technical support staff that really isn't doing any selling. They're here just as tech support. And that's both for automotive and for commercial and access control. And then we as a company, we strive to have competitive pricing to the market. So we try to keep an ear. We listen to our customers and hear what is the competitive price out in the market. And then as a group of companies, we now have a unified freight policy with a low $100 free freight minimum. And we've tried to make it easy in that if the order is less than $100, it's a flat $9.95 shipping rate. That just makes it easy for you to know what the cost is going to be, and for our salespeople to, be able to accurately quote what the freight's going to look like. So that's the basic introduction. I'm sure some of you have heard this about 40 times. So I'm going to start randomly having attendees do the introduction instead of me going forward. But thank you all for being here, and I'm going to hand it off to Wayne now to get into the meat of the presentation. Thanks.
Thanks, Travis. That's all good. Yep. I agree that definitely working with several different suppliers, working with HL Flake has definitely been the easiest by far. Nonetheless, the best service and most knowledgeable staff. All right, so we ready to screen share?
Yep. And as you get that set up, I'll just mention again for people that added kind of late, in the chat section, you can go ahead and drop a mention of where in the country or where in the world you're at and how long you've been in the industry. But then in the Q&A section is where we want questions to go. So any questions that are actually about the material being presented, put it in the Q&A, and we will address, we'll try to address them as they come up. But if it's something that will be addressed later on in the presentation, we're going to just kind of wait until that's, hopefully, some of these will be answered as we get further in. So
we find that a lot, Travis. We find that in to everybody that's attending. We enjoy questions. I enjoy answering your questions, but most of the questions that you're going to have is the reason that we're having the webinar. So I've taken most of the common questions or the frequently asked questions and designed the course around those. So as far as pricing goes, we will cover that. As far as what restricted keyway means versus what high security, we're going to go over that. As far as what kind of different products they offer, different styles, we're going to go over that. We're going to go over a lot of it. And then after we get through the program, if you still have questions that didn't get answered, then I'm really happy to answer any of those for you. And I'm sure John Greening is too. But let's get through the program and actually see what we have before we ask too many questions. If you have one, just write it down and then we'll answer it at the end. I'll stay as late as anybody wants.
And then also, I know, last time we did this, there were quite a few questions around what is the buy-in, around pricing. So at the end, after Wayne's presentation, I have a few slides to talk about, basically what is the buy-in program with HL Flake. And we'll talk about a promotion that we have going on. And then we also have a drawing for attendees today. So we're going to do a drawing for a $250 credit with HL Flake. So definitely hang on to the very end. That's when we'll talk about those details and do the drawing. So, okay.
Awesome. Thank you. It looks like somebody's posted a question already. Can GMS cylinders be retrofitted into Schlage large format IC core systems and hardware? I don't have the answer to that. I think everything's based around the exact same design. So in theory, yes, John Greening may be able to answer that. I haven't personally taken a GMS MX LFIC core and put it in a Schlage housing, but I just see no reason why it wouldn't work. Do you know, John?
It will work.
Okay, there you go. It will work. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started right into the meat and potatoes of this. We've got about 45, 50 slides or so. Last time it was about an hour 15, hour and a half with questions. So it's about 11 minutes after 10. We're just going to get right into it. Selling and maintaining restricted keyway GMS MX systems. This is presented by Wayne Winton. That's me. If you need my credentials, they're right behind me on the board. I've been a LOA Author of the Year, written tons of articles, started and founded Locksmith Nation, the largest, most used group of locksmiths on the interwebs, 28,000 posts, comments, and whatnot in a month or so. So that's kind of my background. I've been a locksmith for the last 8 years. I own and operate my own company, and everything seems to be really good and successful on my end. So I'm just trying to share some of those tips and techniques on how to capitalize on some things that you may not be aware of, and restricted keyway is one of those things to help bring you income. I want to state it over and over again. This is not a sales pitch class. This is, I don't work for GMS. I don't work for HL Flake directly. We've all come together to bring this information to you, but I am an independent person who chose this system and chose to share it with you, and I'm going to tell you why I chose that system to put more money in your bank account. It's not a sales pitch, so just keep that in mind as we go through the program here. This is presented by wayneslockshop.com Productions, all rights reserved, text, video, and photos. And then it's Wayne's Lock Shop, the largest online locksmith video education collection of videos for professional locksmiths online, wayneslockshop.com. Here's the GMS lineup here that is on the MX Keyway, and this is where, this is what I had set up. You'll notice we've got everything. You can use a key and knob cylinder for drawer locks. There's the LFIC that we were talking about a minute ago up here, the housing, the actual core, rim cylinders, mortise cylinders, and profile cylinders. So you can use this system very broadly. You can use it in padlocks. You can use it if you've got a customer and they've got a lock. GMS has a system for you to be able to get this system into your customers' hands. And it's not just commercial. I'm also selling this to residential people as well. And I'll go into more of the sales portion of it. The main portion of this class is to let you know what's available as far as product and how to sell it. How to sell, why do they need this restricted keyway system, and what are the advantages, and what are some sales tactics that you need to go ahead and pitch this to your customer to lock them into a more secure product and increase your profits. My phone quit here. Okay, schlag pinning also, yes. It's schlag pinning. So Travis kind of already went over this. HL Flake, International Key Supply, McDonald S, H.E. Mitchell. By far the best supplier I've ever worked with, hands down. So give them a shot. All right, so what is a restricted keyway? Our definition of restricted keyway system is a lock that is designed to prevent unauthorized duplication of keys. Most of these locks utilize a key that is controlled by a single locksmith and also requires you to be on a signature card in order to have keys copied. Now, GMS doesn't have the signature card, but they're going to limit. Your key control is provided by your supplier. So that's going to determine how many systems you can have, what keyways you can have, and how many other people in your area can work off of that system. So it's going to be zip code based through HL Flake. They will only sell to you in that area one system so that you can control and maintain that. It's going to be up to your individual suppliers how they zone that out and how you price your buy-in, but that is going to be your keyway control. If you can't get product, you can't get cylinders, you can't get blanks, you can't maintain the system, and that's what it's all based upon. So we want to make sure that we define restricted keyway and we redefine high security cylinder, and we understand the differences between the two of them so that you can intelligently tell your customer what you're actually selling them. All right, so we have many options for restricted keyway systems, choosing one that works for you and your needs. I choose the GMS MX system for my restricted keyway because of the affordability and the user-friendly aspect. That's what I'm looking for in a restricted keyway system. I want it to be easily pinned up and easy to use, and I want it to be cost-effective and affordable. There's lots of different systems out there. You can go with Medico and ASA and all these different ones, but you're going to be paying upwards of $100 a core just to provide that system. So this is affordable and easy to use. It uses schlag pinning depths and spacing. So no special key cards or anything. If you've got an HPC Blitz, it's going to go ahead and cut these just fine. Framing number 2, any schlag standard pinning, spacing, and depth will work with the MX system. No special code software or cards required. That's the main selling factor to me. That was one of the main factors. You can also, I'll just take a regular, I use pre-cuts for a lot of my key bidding. So you can just take a pre-cut Schlage 6-pin key and duplicate that onto your MX, and you've got random bidding. You don't even need to have any software or anything to do that. So really user-friendly, really easy to use, and that is definitely the main selling factor. All right, so restricted keyways are not always high security. High security locks are locks that provide increased resistance to compromise. Most high security locks, they contain design characteristics to improve the ability to resist manipulation and force entry for a given amount of time. So pick resistance, anti-drill, hardened inserts, and usually 2 shear lines. So that's going to be your main difference between high security and restricted keyway. Restricted keyway, you can still pick some of them, but it's still going to make it much more difficult to do. A real high security system has a secondary sidebar or some other factor rather than just the single top pin shear line. So make sure that you're conveying that with your customer. If your customer needs an actual UL listed high security lock, this may not be the one for them, but almost any other application, it is going to be the lock for them. So restricted keyway protection, there's an agreement between the supplier or the dealer and the locksmith. This is an agreement between the manufacturer and the contractor agreement. So you've got the manufacturer GMS. They have a contract with HL Flake on how they distribute their product, and then HL Flake has a contract on how they sell their product to the locksmith, which is you and I. And so there are 2 different contracts that come into play to make sure that they provide clear-cut restrictions on how those keys and how those cylinders are going to be distributed. This restriction can be mileage, radius, or zip code based. I believe HL Flake goes off as zip code, but you'll have to ask your supplier. It's up to your supplier to dictate the terms on that. Okay, so let's see here. How to sell the restricted keyways.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but there is there's a question about that, so I guess we could go ahead and just kind of answer it.
Okay.
No,
Can locksmiths buy in with multiple distributors and get tied up with one distributor only? Is that the one we want to answer?
well, so yeah, I mean, I guess we could do that one. There's really 2 of them here that we could cover. So for the specific keyway, so there's different keys within the MX system.
Right.
HL Flake, for example, has MX1, 8, 12. With McDonald Dash, we have, I think it's 3. H.E. Mitchell has 1, I believe. So there's different key numbers, and so those are specific to the distributor. So there's not another distributor out there that has those keyways.
Right.
So there's no, you're not going to buy the same items from a different distributor.
Right. Exactly.
So,
somebody else would have a different number.
Right. And then the other question is, he's basically asking, he does business in 4 counties. Will he be the only locksmith with access to the keyways in that area? And really this gets into, everybody's situation is so different. We have a person here who basically does the process of looking up your market area and kind of talks with you. So for all of those really specific questions, I can't really answer them generally. You're going to have to basically just get with us, give us the zip code that you're looking at. We'll see what keyways are available, and we'll talk about your specific market. At the end, we'll talk about the different market sizes, the sizes of markets. But you know, it's hard to define what your market area is sometimes. So I know I didn't give a clear answer on that, but basically the answer is it's a case by case. But we will be very clear and open with you as far as what what you have access to, and if what other locksmiths in your area have access to.
Right. It's a big country. You got people in a small town of 5,000 people, and you got people in a metropolitan area of 1 million people. So
yeah,
there's different. That's a big scale to slide across. But just know that the restricted keyway systems is going to give you some options and leverage no matter what for your area. If you live in a big populated area, you probably don't need to be driving a 100-mile radius to service your customers. You're probably going to be in a lot tighter area. Whereas somebody like me, I'm going to be having about an 80-mile radius of places that I serve. It looks like we have one other question for John too. It says, is there a shortage of alpha cylinders?
Alpha is a different program than MX.
It is. They were just asking the question about that.
There is not a shortage of cylinders.
Okay. All right. Very good. Can we use a Pro Lock punch to cut out keys? No, you cannot. You can use any kind of wheeled machine, or you can use any kind of cutting edge machine. The problem with the GMS MX key blank in the Pro Lock Schlage Blue Punch is the milling on it actually is a little bit higher, at least with the keyway that I have. I run the 12 keyways. And we tried to cut them out on a Blue Punch and it bent the key. So you will be able to cut your keys out on any key machine except for a punch style key machine. So the Pack-a-Punch, the HPC 1200 punch, or the Blue Punch is not going to cut these keys well. There may be one out there that doesn't offer that deflection just because of the style of the keyway, but I haven't seen it. So I would not recommend that. I would recommend your Frame number 2, HPC, any of your other, cutting head style key machines will cut these out just fine. All right, we ready to continue? Okay, so one of the first things you want to do is know how to sell the restricted keyway system. And the first thing I go to is have the customer Google Schlage or Quickset lock picked, and you'll get 715,000 results with tens of thousands of pictures and videos and all of this stuff that shows people how to defeat the locks that are on your house or your business. So you got the two most common keyways in the world, SC and KW, or at least in the United States. And they're going to see that those locks are very, very easily defeated. Right over here, you're going to see Lishi tools for them, and we'll go over that a little more too. I am just considering the Schlage and KW keyways kind of obsolete and unsecure at this point in time. I really try and push something else besides that to almost every customer I have, be it commercial or residential, and that's for their security. And it locks them into me, and it makes it so they have to come back to me for more parts or service later on down the road. But this is it right here. I will tell my customer, pull out your phone and Google Schlage or Quickset lock picked, and the results are in their hand. It's not something that you're trying to butter up and feed to them. They see it on their end. So you got a Quickset lock picked in about 43 seconds. I tell them to click on a video. We'll go ahead and watch this little video and they can see. I mean, it's easily bypassed by almost anybody online. Hopefully the video link works. So this has 126,911 views. Some people have watched this video, and there's hundreds and thousands, tens of thousands of them. Fairly novice looking lock picker. And there you go. That's the common lock on your house, and you can see that the pins and stuff are all in there. You can hear them click. So that's what it is. Oh, that control bar really needs to go away. Okay. We're back. You can see PowerPoint again now. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you Google lock bumping. Okay. Over 4 million public results for lock bumping. 4,210,000 results in 58 seconds. Yes, lock bumping is a thing. It was covered in the news. Lots and lots and lots. There's just a ton of buzz out there about lock bumping, and people are very concerned about it. It does work, and it is an effective way to gain entry. Lock bumping can be done with a bump key that you would need to obtain, but you need to obtain a key blank to create a bump key. No blank, no bump key. So you can buy these bump keys all day online for very, very, very cheap. You can buy a whole package of them. Restricted keyways offer protection from key blanks falling into the wrong hands. So these people that make these bump keys and sell them online, they're not going to waste their time to get these smaller restricted keyways, and not to mention they don't have a dealer contract, so they really can't get a hold of them. The only way they would be able to get them is if they bought them illegally through another locksmith who wasn't supposed to be selling them to those people in the first place. So lots of work to get in there to try and get those key blanks. Then again, you're going to have 12 different ones. You're going to have 1 through 12, and that it's just unfeasible to make them do that. Plus, a Schlage and Quickset bump key set, you're going to be able to walk up to almost any house and it's going to be one or the other. This, you're not going to know what to do with it. So it's going to start throwing people off that aren't industry experts. But this, again, just showing your customer the vast amount of public information on these cylinders is really the main sales point. Will the MX plugs work in US lock RXO cylinders? I have no idea. I don't think so. I wouldn't try and mix and match parts. I would stick with the system as it's designed to be. You want to stick with one manufacturer. You don't want to crossbreed parts. So here are your bump keys right here. It's just a key blank cut all the way down to the maximum depths and a little bit lower. And then you go ahead and tap on it. We all know how that works. But these are the things that are for sale online. And these are what the bump key kits look like. Obviously, there's 12 keys in MX, so you're not, I mean, you would have to have so many different ones to get this done. It would be a nightmare to do. So you're offering your customer bump resistance, both by the spool pins that are actually in the lock. So even if you did get a bump key, it's not going to work, or it would be a very slim chance of it working. And number two, they're not going to be able to get the key blanks in the first place. So you can reassure your customer, nobody's going to be bumping these locks open. Leashy tools have also changed the game. They've 100% changed the game as far as security goes. They are so fast and easy to use that it is really, really scary out there. Even in the hands of a complete novice, most people can pick and decode a common keyway in a couple minutes or just seconds. Not only can they pick the lock, they can decode it and they can make a key at the same time. So they could come to your house, pick your lock, take pictures of the decoding, go have a key cut, and then carry a key to your house. Leashy is not going to make a leashy tool for these that I know of. I don't want to say never, but I really, once again, it's just such a small little piece of the pie that I don't think they would put forth the research and development into making 12 different tools for GMS MX. So you're already eliminating a lot of the picking options, you're eliminating a lot of the bumping options, and you're eliminating standard picking options as well, because the lock is going to pick differently and it does provide some security pins in there. So security is always an advancing, it's always advancing and making improvements to remain secure. With the explosion of information exposed to the public on YouTube and online lock sport groups, there are a ton of sources out there, and it's astonishing how many people can actually effectively pick and defeat locks now. This is a hobby. This is a sport with people that are making millions of dollars off of YouTube and getting millions and millions of views bypassing security. That is a fact. Look up Bosnian Bill, look up Lockpicking Lawyer, or any of these other guys. They have millions of followers, and they watch just to see security bypassed. You're not going to see a lot of GMS product being bypassed or picked through these YouTube channels simply because it's not that popular. So you're flying under the radar and helping maintain security. Information paired with advances in tools like leashy tools can make the common keyways practically obsolete or unsecure. Once again, I'll reiterate, I try and sell every single customer restricted keyway when they ask for a rekey. I'll at least present the option to them, and here's why. All right, so we've got key kiosks as well. This is one more part of the security where it's just falling short. Anybody can take any common keyway, like Quickset or Schlage, to the key kiosk, and whether it says do not duplicate on the key blank or not, you can still get it copied. I have proof, I've done it. So the key kiosks are a huge, huge thing. They show up everywhere. Almost every Walmart or strip mall or big box store has one. and anybody can make a key without your knowledge. So that is a huge factor. Again, we're taking these security holes in the locksmith industry, and we're removing them from the equation when we go with a restricted keyway system. Some of these can make a key simply off of your picture. So if somebody gets a picture of your key, you can actually send that in or register your key with these key kiosks, and they will be able to make a key at any point in time, no matter what. That is really, really scary. It's also a huge liability and a recipe for disaster for security, as far as security goes. Do they make MX cylinders that for quickset deadbolts? If you can install a key and knob cylinder on that system, you can. I actually use the Dexter brand deadbolt that uses a key and knob cylinder so that I can switch out any key and knob cylinder, any keyway that I want, no matter what. I wouldn't recommend pairing it with a quickset system. The Schlage ones are more friendly. So quickset, probably just toss it, sell them a new deadbolt that'll accept that key and knob cylinder, and you'll be able to install the MX cylinder in there. That would be my go-to on that. Any benefit of buying into those who deal with M2L? We have the equipment. I'm not familiar with that product, so I couldn't answer that question right now. But we'll go ahead and watch this little video. It'll show you, I go to a key kiosk, I get a Schlage SC do not duplicate key. It makes it, and then we try and copy an MX, and it says no.
Good morning and welcome to Wayne's Lock Shop. Today we're going to be discussing do not duplicate keys and restricted keyways. This is a do not duplicate key. It says do not duplicate on it. However, when you take it to a key kiosk such as Minute Key or KeyMe or any of these kiosks that are in large shops and locations, it doesn't care what the key says. It will cut it anyways. Here is a GMS MX restricted keyway key. This is a system that we sell, and this is a system for locksmiths to sell a restricted keyway system. And when I insert this into the copy machine, it says cannot duplicate. You do not make the suggestion of do not duplicate. You make sure that it cannot be duplicated because they do not have the MX key blanks. This system is available from HL Flake, and for more information on pinning, setup, and selling, check out wayneslockshop.com.
Okay, so that kind of gives you some ideas right there. That's a huge benefit to you. Then that's a huge sales tactic that I use quite often, actually. Is to show them, hey, you cannot get this copied. It's not the request of do not duplicate that's stamped on the key. It's cannot duplicate. Big, big difference between the two. Do they make five-pin version of MX? Yes, they do make a 5-pin version. That's correct, John, right? I've got 5-pin blanks, yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's confirmed. Yes, there is a 5-pin option. Let's see, then we've got hardware stores, okay? This is another leak in security. This is another gap in security. You don't know who's behind the counter, you don't know how they were trained, and you don't know if they care at all. Do not duplicate is only a request, and that is all based on the honor system of whoever is working that day. Cannot duplicate means that they physically don't have the key blank to duplicate it on. It's much better and much more secure option, okay? Hopefully that's making sense to everybody. Neutered bow blanks. Do you want to answer that, John? There's our GMS restricted systems offered in neuter bow blanks.
They're basically just a square-headed key, not really easily identifiable.
Okay, all right. So there you go. And then somebody asked if we can find these links on YouTube. So what we're going to do is with this program here, this one's going to get recorded and it's going to go to a USB drive. All of the information, all the slides, the entire recording, the PowerPoint, all of the video links and everything is going to be in a nice little organized USB drive or a link that HL Flake can send out to you. So give us a couple of weeks to get this all crunched and put together. But to answer your question, yes, the recording will be available and all those those links will be available to the videos and you'll be able to send them to your customer directly. You have my permission to do that. Any questions on sales or bullet points so far? We've got picking, Google search results, Lishi tools, key kiosk hardware. We'll take a second and we'll answer some questions here if you guys want to. They say there's a standard for MX cores. I thought they were only available through Alpha. Will these cores fit into Schlage LFIC hardware? So Alpha, I don't think fits into LFIC. Can you answer that, John? Alpha fits in LFIC?
Alpha will fit in the LFIC and the SFIC. The primary difference between MX and MX Alpha is the MX Alpha will work on small format cores, whereas the regular MX will not.
Right.
But just to be clear, the regular MX does fit in large format.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So Alpha's out. That's right. Alpha's geared. It's a completely different system. It does not operate off of Schlage pinning. It works off of A2 best pinning. So it's all SFIC, small format interchangeable core. Completely different system. A lot of the rules for restricted keyway systems that are in this program apply to the Alpha system, but it is for somebody who is interested in a program that is centered around SFIC.
Wayne, just a quick correction, or clarification. The MX Alpha will pin up in small format as well as large format and Morris rim key and knob. So we'll do all those same platforms. The only thing the MX doesn't do is the small format.
Right, but if you were to take your Alpha system and pin that to an LFIC, you're still you're not basing it off of Schlage pinning depths, correct?
On the Alpha, we're not pinning. No, it's not on the Schlage pinning depths.
Right. You go back to A2. So that's the big difference. Alpha is A2. MX is conventional. Okay. We got a couple other questions up here. Whew. Can we put our company information in the blanks? I mean, yeah, sure. You can post your company info in there. Do they come in IC style or regular cylinder plugs as well? So it comes in LFI large format IC. To answer Sam's question, you can get LFIC, but not SFIC for MX. If you want SFIC, you have to go with Alpha. They do have a product for it, but it's not what this particular course covers. Did you say the MX keyway will fit in SC keyway 5-pin KW? So they do offer a 5-pin MX system, Janice, but it's not. You have to replace the key and knob cylinder. You have to replace the cylinder. You can't just replace plugs or parts. You don't want to do that. You don't want to mix and match parts. Somebody asked that about RX too. You don't want to mix and match parts. You just want exactly what it is to be a complete transfer over. So if you have the best way to clarify it is if I have a Schlage deadbolt and it has a screw that allows a key and knob cylinder to be removed, rekeyed, and put back in, you can put a key and knob cylinder from MX in there. Yes, that is acceptable. You're not going to be able to mix and match any other parts. Hopefully that answers that question. Can you show more photos of the lock cylinders? I guess I missed that part. No, there's photos coming up. So there's photos and videos coming up about how to pin them and everything. How to sell residential customers. Okay, so how do I sell to residential customers? I offer the same sales pitch. The sales pitch works on both commercial and residential customers. Because they offer a profile cylinder, there's a lot of customers in the high-end area like mine that have Pella and multi-point style doors. So I can integrate that to the entire household, and I will tell them, hey, you guys have maids coming, cleaning people, property managers, landscapers, plumbers, mechanics, any of those 10 service industry people that it takes to take care of a multi-million-dollar home can go get a key made at a key kiosk and come back and rob you. You don't know who has your keys and why. Whereas if we set it up with the MX system, I issue the owner or the property manager 10 keys and I number them 1 through 10, and that property manager issues them out and checks them out to each person, then they get that key back. There's no need to rekey. There's nobody else that's going to make them another key, and there's no way that they could get another key to come back. So that is the main focus point. When I tell them that they cannot be copied, unauthorized copy, that's the selling point. So that's, hopefully that answers the question about residential customers. The sales pitch is exactly the same. The videos and the lock bumping and the picking and all of that is the exact same sales pitch, commercial or residential.
And then just to, to talk a little bit about how the price compares, you know, it's really not much more, you know, I think a cylinder, an MX cylinder is about $11 or $12.
Yeah, I have a price comparison chart on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little towards the end, but yeah, I show exactly what it is. It's not that much more. I mean, I've been working several different options, and I've got one where my normal rekey fee is $25. Well, I've got a security or restricted keyway rekey, and I call it a restricted keyway rekey, where I just sell the cylinder for 35, and I just replace the cylinder and pin it up for 35 bucks. And then they're not like, well, you sold me this and we didn't need to buy that. It's if I got a flat price, if I've got a good service call at about, you know, 80 bucks, 80 to $120, and then I can sell, you know, 5 cylinders on site at 35 bucks a piece rekeyed, I still make plenty of money. And then now that system is on mine and they're locked into me and they have to come back to me. So that's how we sell it to both residential and commercial. Hopefully most of those questions got answered there. Explain advantages of restricted keyway systems. If I have a business that rekeys frequently, I suggest they try the restricted keyway system. If I explain that they rekey with this restricted keyway system and we number the keys and assign them to their employees, example, Bob gets key number 2, Jane gets key number 3, and so on. If they get the key back when someone moves on, they do not need to rekey the facility, okay? That's your main sales point. I can rekey you with this system, and at cell phone companies, AT&T, Verizon, they love this stuff. They eat it up. I was out there rekeying probably once every 2 months, and then I switched them over to this system, and maybe we rekey once a year now. So we saved them a ton of money. They're happy that I introduced them to a system that will save them money, and I still made plenty of money selling that system to begin with to pay for the next 4 or 5 or 6 rekeys that they would have had. So you don't really lose anything by doing it. You just make your customer happy and you sell them a better product. That's the way that I found that works. Why GMS MX? All right, so now that you and your customer understand the advantages of why the system can save you and your customer money in the long run, all while providing a much higher level of security, we can explore why GMS. 2 words, it's cost and it's easy. It's inexpensive, it's affordable, it's a good product, it's a quality product, and it's easy to use. That's it, plain and simple. How much is it? We will go over that here shortly, and then what does pinning look like? So here's kind of a cost breakdown right here. For your rural areas, it's about $340. There's another price point sheet that Travis will have put up there. It's going to depend on population in your area, but the average approximate is about $740 for 50 cylinders and 100 key blanks. That's kind of what I bought into to get my system started. And it's not really a buy-in. I mean, it is a buy-in, but you're getting product for it. They're just making a minimum requirement of the product. It's not like they're saying, pay us $500 and then start buying your product. You're just getting the product as is. And it's a very, very affordable system. If you look at Primus or some of the other restricted keyways that are out there from the bigger companies, you're looking at $5,000 and $10,000 buy-ins. You're not talking hundreds of dollars, you're talking thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, depending on what you want to have. So when you look at it compared in those types of numbers, you can see it's extremely affordable. It's by far the most affordable system that I've seen or used. So that kind of gives you an idea. So you think you got to buy in for larger cities, 70 cylinders. The amount goes up, but the amount of product that you get goes up as well. Okay. Let's see. This was from Rich, but this was just asking some questions here that we asked him. So we make this an option. The supplier is going to be really open about what you can and can't do. You just need to contact your local sales rep. They're going to be able to answer all the questions on how much it is for you in your area and what protection you're going to get. So those are going to be questions for your sales rep when you decide to go ahead and do that. Did you guys have something to add to that?
I was just going to say there was one question about, it says that I said the keyways are sold by your zip code, and is there a set range or miles before they reuse your keyway? And I was saying there's not a one size fits all, because certainly, where Wayne is at, just because his population is much more spread out, his market area is probably more spread out than somebody that is, say, in like Chicago.
Right.
So there's not a set range of miles.
Right.
Really, all of this, so, contact your individual sales rep, but all of these contracts go through Rich McManus here in Houston, who manages, the system for us. He has a mapping software that he uses to chart where all of the systems are at. So,
right.
And like I said, it's in kind of a case-by-case individual basis.
Right. We're dealing with something that's very complex, and there's no one size fits all. Everybody is going to have their own individualized system based on where they're at. That's the whole point of having a restricted system, is something that's customized for you, your business, and your customers. That's what we want to get across here. A couple other questions we had. John, do they make a true 5-pin cylinder?
They're 5-pin drilled 6.
Okay. So somebody asked, there's a 5-pin pin, but the 6-pin is the chamber removed. No, it sounds like they're all 6-pin cylinders, pin 6, but the last chamber's off, but they do make a true 5-pin key. So if you have key blank issues, where the key blank, like I'll probably show it on the 1-inch rim cylinder or the 1-inch mortise cylinder, the 6-pin tip does stick out past just a little bit. So that might be one where that 5-pin key may come in handy there. Do they offer deadbolts and doorknobs as the MX keyway pre-installed? I don't think you guys have a full deadbolt housing setup, do you, John?
No, we don't. We sell cylinders. We don't sell the locks themselves.
Right, but anything that accepts a key and knob cylinder will work. I personally use the Dexter hardware and Dexter grade 2 deadbolts and Dexter knobs, levers, Dexter everything. That's my house brand, and everything works perfectly fine with it. I've never had any issues. You can get it in all the finishes. It's good hardware. It lasts a long time. Nice, good finish, and it works. Are the cylinders made in China, overseas, or is there USA production plant?
The products are made in China and Taiwan.
Okay. All right. It looks like there's some stuff going on. Zip code is a way to manage the 2-mile radius. Maybe that might be a better question for Travis. The last question by Bill Tull. Yeah.
Bill, I mean, it's kind of hard to answer the zip code and the radius questions. We'll just have to get with Rich. I mean, if you're interested in a keyway, we'll get you in touch with Rich and we'll look it up and see. It really is, like I said, it's kind of a case by case. We have to talk to you about what your market actually looks like and
right.
who else is already there. So.
Right. The main portion of the program is to learn how to sell the product and what it does and how to attain it and some basic pricing issues. After that, it's going to be up to you to talk with your supplier to actually hammer out the details. It looks like a dumb question, but quick set, lock sets. I mean, if it's got a key and knob cylinder, it'll work, but for the most part, it's not going to be compatible with quick set because it's different. All their deadbolts, everything is all smart key now from quick set, which it will not incorporate with any way, shape, or form. If it has an older key and knob cylinder, it might be compatible, but probably not. It will be compatible with most of the Schlage hardware, except the residential series that uses a different style key and knob cylinder. Best practices to use is plan on selling them a new deadbolt or plan on selling them a new piece of hardware to incorporate this system that will accept a key and knob cylinder. That's your go-to. Came in late. HPC punch cut keys? No punches, only wheeled machines. We did try cutting MX 12 key blank on a ProLock blue punch. It did not work. It will cut the spacing and depth correctly, but it will bend the key to the point that it will not fit in the cylinder. We were able to bend it back, but it was ugly. You don't want to do that. I offer services in multiple states and multiple accounts. Yeah, you're going to have to talk to your supplier about that. I have no idea. I assume there's probably going to be some red flags brought up with crossing state lines.
And yeah, we would just need to do separate. The contract is based on your location, so we would do multiple contracts.
Good. Where do we get Dexter? Talk to your HL Flake representative. Dexter has been extremely good hardware for me. So the MX system will not work on residential systems. Yes, it will. I mentioned that in the beginning of the program. I actually am starting to sell all of my clients, both commercial and residential, especially residential customers, these systems, because the common Schlag and Kwikset keyway, I am not considering secure anymore. There's too many options. We went over key kiosks and picking and videos and bumping and you know, hardware store guys, we went over all that in the beginning portion of the class. Those are all giant gaps in security. So if you can sell this to a residential customer, you're going to be far ahead. I've had a very good success rate getting the residential people to accept and warm up to this system. All right, so we got some frequently asked questions answered from HL Flake. So the yearly requirement of 10 or 15 cylinders between what they can buy as needed. So basically you're gonna fulfill your contract and then you'll be able to buy as you need. One contract per every 250,000 population area. Again, that's going to get more into what your actual supplier says or your representative. Don't hold me to any of these numbers. They're just an average and a general number to give you a basic idea. You can have MX 1, 8, and 12. Each requires its own separate buy-in as per the contract. You are required to stamp your keys. So that's another thing that we'll cover too. You do want to make sure that you stamp your keys, and that's for your protection. If you catch another locksmith making your keys or duplicating or copying them and your stamp is on there, you have a case to make sure that they get shut down and they do not get any more product from GMS or from that supplier. You are prohibited from cutting someone else's keys that are stamped. So again, we go back to that stamp, even if you're on the same keyway. So if you have two locksmiths and they're just kind of overlapping each other or just far enough apart to both have the, let's say, MX12 system, and you copy the other locksmith's key, you are in violation of contract. You cannot do that. You have to refer them back to the original person who stamped the key and the person who sold it to them. That is where your protection comes in. If somebody else is cutting your keys, get proof, get documentation of it, send it into GMS or your representative or your supplier, and most likely they will probably cut the supply off for that person and they won't be able to maintain it anymore. Don't service somebody else's client. That is the easiest way to go about this. HL Flake is going to do everything that they can to make sure that they defend the people that are, you know, appropriately using their product, and they'll get rid of the people that don't. I'm going to wait for questions a little bit more towards the end here. So custom stamps, we got key stamping. Custom stamps are your best friend with the interest of keeping people from servicing your system. It's your insurance and your proof. Here's a really cool one from John Nolan from Reliant Security. You can get these stamps made. Just type in, you know, key stamps made, and there's a couple guys that make those custom key stamps. They're a little pricey, but very, very good product, well worth it, and absolutely necessary to sell this system. So get your own custom key blanks and your own custom key stamp. Okay, so somebody asked, what is a fair price for key blanks? I worked for a company before that sold them for $10, but I think 12 to 15 is reasonable. I don't think anything's unreasonable, to be perfectly honest. I sell high security keys like ASA, Medico, anything high security, safe deposit keys. I sell them for 12 to 15 a piece. These, the MX restricted keyway keys, I charge $8 a piece. So that's my price. It's your business. You charge what you want. That's my go-to on that. Are you going to physically demonstrate rekeying the locks or is it just about sales? Yeah, we'll have some videos that show exactly how to repin every single one of these locks. Yes. Can you get a photo? We saw that one earlier. What if I only want to start with 10? You gotta go with the buy-in. Your supplier is going to tell you how many you need to buy and what your minimum buy-in is. That's going to be up to them. Understanding that the MX could be used with a Pro-Lock punch. Nope, that's been addressed. It's not going to cut it very well. So you live in an area with 10,000 people, 4 locksmiths can use the keyway. That's going to be up to your supplier and the area that you're in. So,
Wayne?
Yeah.
The Pro-Lock punch can be used on MX Alpha. Those are,
Right.
there's been a punch made for the MX Alpha products, not for MX.
Right. Yes. And John has that. John Nolan has that. And that works extremely well, but we're not covering alpha here.
I know, they might have seen some literature on that. That might have been the question.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So that, hopefully that clears everything up. Alpha or the SFIC system can blue punch, but you have to buy a special blue punch, and they're like $800 or $900. So you would have to be doing a lot of that work to justify that cost. But as far as the MX, the one we're talking about in this program, blue punch does not work very well. All right, so this is the most user-friendly system that I have ever used. The main reason that I choose GMS MX was the fact that there are no special pin kits needed. The standard Schlage or lab pin kits work perfectly fine. No special cards for your key machine required. If you can cut Schlage keys, you can cut these no problem on almost any code machine that is not a punch machine. All right, so you can also, this is what I do. I'll just grab a 6-pin or 5-pin, whichever one you're doing, Schlage key blank. These are my randoms. I'll trade keys with other locksmiths across the country, and these are my pre-cuts. So I'll just take a pre-cut, put it on the key machine or put it on the duplicator and burn off a key onto my MX blank, and I am all set. And then it gives me the exact coding and bitting. It works beautifully. It's fast, easy, reliable, and you don't have to overthink it. So you can cut, or you can cut these on any of your common code machines like your HPC Blitz or Framing. So you can make up your own codes, or you can just copy off the pre-cuts, or you can design master key systems. Anything you can do with Schlage, you can do with MX. Master keying and max. So all the rules that apply to Schlage master keying and bitting apply to the MX system. No more than 7 depths apart. So you cannot do a 0 and 9 or a 1 and 9. You can do a 2 and 9 because there's 7 depths in between that are right next to each other. Also, if you are master pinning, you have to have a minimum of 30 thousandths master pin or a number 2 master pin in order to get the system to work. If you are master keying, you could run this through a program like Master King from HPC and just type in that it's an SC4 or SC1 keyway, 5 or 6 pin key, whichever one you're using, and it will come out with the exact master key system that you need, all of the options that you need, all the change keys, master, grandmaster, great grandmaster, however high you want to go. Anything that you can build with Schlage pinning for master key systems will work perfectly and immaculately with the MX system. So if you can master key Schlage, you can master key MX. All right, so here's how master keying goes. Somebody's asking if there's photos. This is photos right here. This is what the key blank looks like. This is what the pins look like. This is what the master pins look like. And this is what housing, LFIC housing, and an LFIC cylinder look like in the photo right here. So this is just some random numbers I threw together. I just wanted to show 4s and 2s to comply with the MAX system on there, and that you can master key it and master key each chamber just like so. So this is just 2 different keys that are going to work the same lock, and then you've got your control key down here. The control key, I want to touch on that. It works exactly the same as the Schlage LFIC system. So if you have the bitting, if you have a operating key on your MX, all you have to do is copy it onto a control key blank that has the extra little nub on the end or the extra little tab, and you now have a control key. That is why this system is beautiful, easy, and very user-friendly. Okay. So standard key gauge works just fine for decoding. So you can decode your MX keys just like you decode your Schlage keys. We got a number 4 cut, we got a number 4 cut. Very, very, very easy to use, very easy to decode, very easy to maintain. Flexible and many options provided. So we've got key and knob cylinders, rim cylinders, 1-inch mortise cylinders, 1.25-inch mortise cylinders, Euro profile cylinders, Sargent size adapters and tail pieces for Sargent direct replacement, and Arrow size adapter tailpieces for aero direct replacement systems. So anything that you have out there, even if it's Sargent or Aero, GMS has an option for you to be able to convert this over to their MX keyway and utilize that in their locking hardware and system. That is a huge, huge deal. That really means a lot to me. That and GMS isn't going anywhere. They've been in business for a very long time. So once you invest in the product, you want to invest in a company that you know is going to be around for a long time and that you can maintain that system for a very, very long time. Very versatile. So we've got some videos here. We'll show some of the different pinning videos, and then we are coming up on 11 o'clock, so we are just about to wrap up anyways. I will focus on questions while we're watching the videos. So if you want to post your questions over in the comment or in the Q&A section, make sure that your comments are in the Q&A section. I will either stop the video and reply to you through the microphone, or I will reply in text.
Good morning, and today I'm Wayne's Law.
All right, so we got one question. Did you say that a control key can be made by simply cutting a notch in the key? No, I'm saying you can make a control key by simply copying an operating key onto a control blank. Could you possibly try and make your own control key by cutting the shoulder back and trying to mill it down? Maybe, but it's going to be ugly and it's not going to be fun. That's not what you want to do. If you're going to maintain the system and you're going to pin LFIC locks, you need to order the control blanks to go with it so that you can control and maintain that system and that you can maintain it later on.
Workshop, we're going to be discussing the GMS MX series. This is a restricted keyway that follows Schlage pinning rules. Here you can see that we are decoding a Schlage SC 6-pin key or SC4 key. We're also decoding a MX 6-pin key. I actually use Schlage 6-pin keys as precuts for my MX lineup. So I will just literally copy it directly over. After it's copied directly over, then we can go ahead and begin setting our pin for our locks. This is actually going to be master keyed. So I'm going to show you how to master key, just like you would master key a regular Schlage 1-inch mortise cylinder. You can do the exact same thing with GMS MX. So we've got a key here that's going to have different cuts in every single chamber and master wafers in every single chamber. We're loading up the bottom pins now. Everything is nice, flat, and flush. Very good tolerances, very quality lock. Seems to be a difficult pick, so it does have security pins from the factory. And then we're going to load that up and make sure that it fits. Everything works perfectly. And then we'll go ahead and follow it back out, and we'll add our master pins and our master key to go ahead and add that secondary key. There's no random, there's just not a real bidding on this. It's just randoms. I think we did 2s and 4s just to show that it follows Schlage pinning rules. So once we have all of those loaded back up in there, we can go ahead and reinsert the plug. And again, here is the key. Yes, I do notice that this key is a little bit long. You would normally do a 5-pin setup for this 1-inch cylinder. However, this is just for demonstration purposes only, and we're just showing how the lock operates. Go ahead and tighten up the 2 screws on the tailpiece or the cam. Looks like we've got an Adams Right cam. I think it comes with both Adams Right and a beaver tail cam, and you're ready to go. That is your GMS.
Okay, so that's just a basic setup of pinning the cylinder up. It looks like we had some questions. John, can you answer, is there a system to make it compatible with Yale? Is there a Yale custom setup? Tail pieces, etc.
There's the Yale adapter that will work on those cylinders that we use for the key and times on those.
Okay, so there is a Yale adapter. There you go. That's a good question. Travis, there was a question for you over there as well, too. Who do I need to speak to at Flake regarding availability in my area? You can answer that, or I guess it's just your average your sales rep, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would. So Rich is the one. It's gonna, all of it goes through Rich, but he actually works the front counter here in Houston. And since we've done 2 of these webinars now, we've actually made him pretty busy with some requests. So just, I would advise everybody just to reach out to whoever your normal salesperson is. Just reach out to sales, let them know you're interested in the MX system. We'll get the contract to you. Basically fill out your information. And then Rich can take that information, put it into his mapping software, and get back to you about availability in your area.
Okay.
So.
All right, good. Well, we got a couple questions here. Wayne, what would be the advantages to the GMS over LSDA that has no buy-in? I mean, you're getting hung up on the buy-in, and the buy-in it's more of like a they're just requiring you to buy a certain amount. The buy-in, once again, I want to 100% clearly define. The buy-in is not send me $300 and then you can start ordering product and the $300 goes to waste. Every penny that you're putting towards the system and the buy-in, it's just making you buy a block of locks and keys. So you start off with whatever the first block is, where you're getting 20 cylinders and 100 key blanks, and you just keep going up from there. If LSDA offers you to just buy one at a time, that's fine and that's good for them. I'm not familiar with their system, so I couldn't answer that question more than what I'm doing right now, other than don't look at it as a buy-in. You're just buying into a bulk system. So you're saving money by buying in and committing to a bulk system. It's like going shopping at the convenience store or going shopping at Costco. You're going to have to buy more and your bill's going to be more expensive, but you're going to get more from it. That's the way to look at it. Hopefully that answers that question. Is it essentially the extra warding in keyway that makes it high security? Once again, it's not high security, it's restricted keyway. There's not a secondary shear line. High security would be like Medico or ASA or Primus that has top pins and a sidebar. That's my definition. High security has anti-drill pins and it has 2 forms of a shear line, usually utilizing a sidebar. That's high security. This is not high security. Don't advertise it as high security. It is restricted keyway, which means one shear line, easy to maintain, affordable, and just keyway control is the fact of it. Watch another video.
Good morning and welcome to Wayne's Lock Shop. Today on Wayne's Lock Shop, we're going to be discussing the GMS MX Restricted Keyway Series from HL Flake. This system uses Schlag pinning rules as far as spacing, depths, and master keying, so there's no special cards required. You can use a conventional key gauge to decode your MX restricted keys. You can also pin and master pin them exactly like Schlag. They offer LFIC, mortise cylinders, rim cylinders, profile cylinders, and more. For more information, sign up for my class. The link is below. It's completely free, and you can learn about not only how to maintain your restricted keyway systems, but you can learn sales tactics on how to make customers come back to you for those keys and that keying system, because it is your system and it is a restricted system, so you can keep your customers more safe, more secure, and make your business more profitable. Tune in tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
So there's a little promo video for this class here. We'll go into the LFIC and some of the profile stuff as well. So just bear with me here.
Good morning, and today on Wayne's Lock Shop, we're going to be discussing the GMS MX lineup available through HL Flake. This is the GMS Restricted Keyway System. This is keyway number 12. This is the one I'm using, and we're going to focus on the LFIC, or Large Format Interchangeable Core System here. One of the first things that we're going to be able to do is go ahead and make sure that when you get this, it's going to be #1 cuts all the way across. So if you have a Schlag control key, you also need a GMS control key to operate this system. And
hopefully everybody's going to pay attention to this particular video that was asking about LFIC options. So this is the actual system right here. This is me completely deconstructing, reconstructing, pinning, and setting up the LFIC system. When you get the cores, they're going to be pinned to number one cuts. So you may need to cut that out on your control key to be able to remove it and add it to the housing. And you'll need to have it cut that way on a regular key or an operating key to remove the cylinder so that you can pin it however you want. So keep that in mind. It's not 0-bitted, it is number 1 bitted. So all number 1 cuts.
And install the core. So there are some prior planning needs that you will have to know about so that you can be prepared to operate this system. It operates and works exactly like Schlage LFIC. So you will need a 6-pin control key in order to operate this lock. When you get that, it should be a complete blank. You can copy a Schlage control key that has 1 cuts all across and be able to use this key and operate it to operate the core. You can also cut a regular key blank all to number 1 depths in order to remove the core and pin it and service it. Here I'm showing what a 0 cut looks like and what a number 1 pin looks like. And you can see that these are all number 1. I thought they were all 0s to begin with, but they are all number 1 cuts. So here we're going to be master keying this lock so that 2 different keys operate along with the control key. Great thing about this system is once you have it decoded, it's very easy to make a control key. You just simply copy an operating key onto a control key blank. So here we're going to load up the bottom pins. We've got the math all broken down. There's no rhyme or reason to the numbers that I picked. It was just to show that you can easily key and master key this system, just like a Schlage lock or a Schlage LFIC system. Makes it very, very easy for the cutting machine. Any of your cutting machines that cut Schlage keys will cut these, except for the blue punch or any kind of a punch. If you have a cutting wheel, it will cut these keys no problem. I will often use Schlage 6-pin blanks, or I'm sorry, pre-cuts, to randomize my pinning for the MX system. So you can just literally burn one off on a duplicator and you're ready to go. So you can see how the control lug operates, you can see how the housing fits into the system, and you can see how easy it is to service, maintain, and operate. No special cards, no special spacing and depth. Everything is very clean, cut, clear, and works off of Schlage pinning principles, which makes it an extremely easy system to work with. For more information, take my class on the 14th, May 14th, 2020.
Okay, so we had some questions in there. Does MX work with SFIC? No, they have a separate system that works with that that's called the Alpha system. So GMS, I want to be 100% clear on this. GMS offers a SFIC restricted keyway program. It is called Alpha. It is completely separate from the MX program that this course is based on. There is a separate class completely dedicated to the Alpha system, and if you're interested in that, you can talk to John. I think he may have that, or John Nolan was the one that put it on. They'll probably put it on again at some point in time, but this is dedicated specifically to the MX program that is not SFIC. Were there any other questions out there to clarify? Are there brand-specific key and knobs tailpieces needed for various brands as GMX product, or would I still need to buy the specific tailpieces from the manufacturer? So John kind of touched on that. The normal key and knob cylinder comes with your basic tailpieces. It'll come with a short, straight tailpiece. It'll come with a longer one. I think there's 3 different lengths that it comes with for the standard, like a key and knob or key and lever style. Then it comes with the tailpiece that is really, really long that'll allow you to set it up with the ring to set it up like a deadbolt. So it's free spinning. So it comes with everything you need to set it up for the common systems that are out there. If you have something that is manufacturer specific, such as Sargent, Arrow, or Yale, you will need to purchase a separate tailpiece kit from that. Is that accurate, John? Your mic's not on, John.
Thought I got it there. For the most part, I think that's true. The standard 5 tailpieces that come with the MX Alpha cover the vast majority of them. There might be a few manufacturers. Marks are one of those that have a funky tailpiece that you'd have to order separately or get from them. But we very seldom hear that people can't key into a system because they don't have the proper tailpiece.
Right. And that's one of the things that makes it so universal and usable and user-friendly. I use this system all the time, and I have never run into a situation where I could not fit an MX cylinder into that particular lock or locking device or hardware without, with as long as I know I'm pinning up or I got to put a Sargent conversion in, I will order that specific for that. Other than that, I haven't ever run into a system where I couldn't incorporate MX into it. So hopefully that answers most of those questions. A big exception to that is QuickSet. People keep bringing up the QuickSet era. There's not a lot of options for the QuickSet options. They require a specialized tailpiece. It's a clipped-on tailpiece. It's mostly garbage anyway. I mean, the whole point of this is to get rid of the residential grade garbage that is on people's doors and sell them something that actually provides some keyway control, provides them some security, uses an all brass cylinder, not this pot metal garbage, and get them a system that is very good, very secure, and another level up. We're trying to avoid all the QuickSet stuff. You don't want to mix and match those parts. You want to sell them a decent deadbolt, like I mentioned earlier, Dexter, or any deadbolt that is going to go ahead and accept a key and knob cylinder and convert that over. That's how I'm selling this to residential facilities. As far as the commercial facilities, it's usually all Adams Rite hardware. The Adams Rite, or the mortise cylinders, like the 1 inch and 1.25 inch mortise cylinders that thread in, those are going to come with an Adams Rite cam and a beaver tail cam. So those are the two that are going to come with it. If you need a brand specific one, you'll have to order that. Do you have anything to add to that, John?
You had it covered there.
Alarm lock, I haven't had any issues changing anything over to alarm lock either. We've installed MX cylinders in them. Yeah, smart key is a no-go. Obviously, smart key is its own thing. You just have to throw that in the garbage and start over.
But he's saying the one for QuickSet that's not smart key.
Still, yet again, I mean, even the older systems, they rely on that clip that clips into the back, and it's not a key and knob cylinder. So it's built into the housing. So it's not going to be very compatible with QuickSet. I would just, if I were to chalk it up and give an answer, I would say 99% of QuickSet options are not going to be compatible with this system. You're going to have to replace the entire lock. Does Dexter have residential knobs that take 6-pin cylinder? I mean, I don't know if they're residential knobs, but that's the knobs that I use. They're like a commercial grade 2 knob or grade 2 lever, and everything works with them extremely well. That's kind of why I use Dexter instead of Marks, because of the tailpiece situation. The hardware is about the same. Marks might be a little tiny shred better than the Dexter, but the Dexter's more compliant with what I need, and it works better for me, and it's at a better price point. So anything Dexter will incorporate GMS and complement it extremely well. Go ahead and kick another video. Go ahead and post any questions if you want, or did you have something else to add?
Oh no, I guess so. We have a few more videos, and then we're going to have a Q&A time where we'll go through everything, right? I mean, we'll answer as many questions as come in.
Yeah, we're just kind of breaking it up. Feel free to post your questions, and I'll answer them as we take a break. Now's the time. Like I said, we're about wrapped up. We're coming in at about 11:20, so hopefully we'll get
so if we haven't answered your question yet, that's still on the board, we'll get to it.
Yes, and if I can't see it anymore, repost your question. This is the time for questions. Please, questions away.
Good morning and welcome to Wayne's Lock Shop. Today we're going to be talking about the GMS MX restricted keyway system available through HL Flake from GMS. GMS is long known for having tight tolerances and an overall good product with great quality control. Today we're going to be going over the European style profile cylinder. Here we've got what looks to be a half type cylinder. Everything loads from the top. There are Allen head screws that come out from the top, and the entire chamber must be dumped through the top and pinned through the top. This is actually a fairly easy system to set up and pin. It's going to operate and use Schlage pinning, spacing, and depths. So any Schlage pinning, spacing, and depths you'll be able to use with this system. You can also master key this system. You can do anything you can do with Schlage, you can do with GMS MX. One of the nice things about them offering the European profile cylinder options are you can use this on your multi-point doors, palace style doors. There's a lot of European style doors in my area, and so I sell the MX restricted keyway system to homeowners and residential users as well. We can use the key and knob cylinders, convert them over to a deadbolt style, and be able to insert those or install those on any of the high-end hardware that will accept a key and knob cylinder, and then we can use these in the multi-point styles doors. So this gives us an option to rekey the entire building and the entire home, all of the internal locks, and get them all on the same key. This is really nice for high-end homes that have property management companies, cleaning people, and a lot of staff that come and go. We can set this up just like a business. You explain it and sell it the same way, where you number the keys, issue them out, and you know people can't go to key kiosks and get copies made. This makes it so that you can control the system and maintain security for that system. For more information, check out hlflake.com, check out GMS Cylinders, and check out wayneslockshop.com. We'll be going over how to pin, sell, maintain, and anything you need to do with this system. For more information, go to wayneslockshop.com.
Okay, so one of the questions that's come up is padlock specific. Will they fit in ABUS padlocks? If it takes a key and knob cylinder, a standard key and knob cylinder, then yes, it'll fit and it'll work right in it. I've converted these over to the Stanley padlocks, the 24/7 padlock series, because again, it takes a standard key and knob cylinder. But GMS also offers a really, really nice selection of padlocks as well. Can you elaborate a little more, John, on what kind of padlock options you guys have? Do you offer puck locks or anything like that for?
No, we basically do just 1 3/4 and 2-inch padlocks with the 1, 2, and 4-inch shackles on them.
Yeah,
but as I say, they're quality padlocks, well positioned for price, will work well with all these applications.
Yeah. Yep. I just sold a pretty big order of about 100 padlocks to one of the municipalities, and they love them. Everything works great. They're out in the weather, bathrooms, pool houses, stuff like that. They take the chemicals, they take the weather, they take everything really, really well. And it's a great system. If you're looking for somebody who needs a much higher level of security, anything that'll take a key and knob cylinder, which I'm pretty sure ABUS uses standard key and knob cylinders, then it will. And I think, actually, I believe I've seen an ABUS lock, one of their big heavy duty ones, like the Rock, the big heavy duty ones use LFIC Schlage system. So I think that is plausible that may work with it. But you'd want to check with your representative and your salesperson first. But those are all different options that you can go across the board. One of the best padlocks I've ever used is the Stanley 24/7 padlock, and I know that it'll work with that. What do you do when you want to sell? Okay, so this would be a great question for John too here. What would you do when you put a cylinder in the lever and it uses a smaller cylinder face like some Yales and Sargents? Is that do they need to order that ahead of time? Are you familiar with that, John?
Well, the smaller faces, the product numbers are K003, and that is available in the MX. You basically take down the face of the cylinder, and it will fit right in there.
Yes.
The K01 is the most common, but Sargent, everybody does something a little different.
Yeah.
The Sargent one has a smaller face. The Aero application, which is the K02, the nut on the back of the cylinder is a little bit large for those. So we sell the K02 with the clip on it that will fit in there. That accommodates the Aero product.
Right. Yeah, so there you go. Yes, it will. It's a direct. I didn't know the part number off the top of my head, but yes, I've taken a Sargent lever or knob, and it's a direct. As long as you order the right part beforehand or keep them in stock, it's a direct replacement. It goes right in. So easy to use. Again, we all go back to that. This is why
HL Flake carries that product. HL Flake has that product, the KO2.
Yeah, you just got to ask your representative and know ahead of time going into it. But again, this is why we like the MX system, because it offers everything. It offers, you can, if you've got a lock, 99% of the time you can find an MX product that'll incorporate with it. So it's just a matter of talking to your rep.
Good morning, and today on Wayne's Lock Shop, we're going to be covering the GMS MX 12 keyway. This is a restricted keyway sold through HL Flake. You can check them out at hlflake.com, and you can check out the restricted keyway system at gms.com. So this is going to be a mortise rim cylinder. These would be used in your common panic.
So I'm unboxing it right now. All of the parts and tail pieces that you see are what come with the package. Keys do not come with it. It comes unbitted and unkeyed. No keys come with it. Everything else in the picture comes with the package. You saw me dump it right out of the box.
Devices or pull trim devices. These pin up very easily, just like Schlag, and they come with everything you see here. You've got the mounting plate, the screws, extra long tail piece, and then your housing and collar. And you can see these pin up very, very nicely. It looks like we're master keying these. So we'll have two different keys that operate the same lock. All of your Schlag pinning rules and spacing and depths apply. You can use your pinning tweezers like so, and load up both of your keys, load it up into the cylinder. It's going to come just like this, where it's going to have a little plastic follower or plug in it, and then you set the system up. It does not come pre-keyed. You will need to key and set up every single lock. It will have top pins. It will have serrated spool pins for security and pick resistance and bump resistance. But for the most part, you will have to set up each cylinder per job. It's not going to come randomly keyed. So everything's designed to be set up by the locksmith for the locksmith. And you can check these out again at GMS. Check them out at GMS or hlflake.com. For more information on how to set up, sell, and maintain these systems, check out Wayne's Lock Shop.
Okay, so that's a good point too, that they're going to come completely unbitted and you're going to have to set every single one of them up, which, I mean, it's not that big a deal. You're going to have to set them up customized anyway. So they're not going to just come with pre-cut keys ready to go. That is one of the differences between this system and some of the other ones out there, but I see no issues with it. In fact, it saves you having to throw away keys and, you know, pull stuff apart. It's ready to go out of the box, and then you set your key and you pin it up and you set it specific per customer, which is actually an advantage, because then if somebody buys a bunch of this stuff and they go and sell it on eBay or something, it's not going to come with a bunch of keys or key blanks or already pinned up ready to go. They're separate issues, or they're separate things that you need to worry about.
Good morning and welcome to Wayne's Lock Shop. Today we're going to be discussing the GMS MX restricted keyway cylinder. They are available through hlflake.com. Check out GMS for any of your UL ratings or listings. And this is the key and knob cylinder. So this is how it's going to come. It's going to come in this bag and give you options for setting this up as a deadbolt, a key and knob cylinder, or a key and lever cylinder, with several different tailpiece options. GMS also offers specialty cylinders for Sargent and Arrow with specialized tailpieces, cams, or whatever you need to adapt their keyway into those systems. GMS is known for having extremely good tolerances and a very quality product with good quality control. This key and knob cylinder is one of my go-to uses for getting people set up for residential deadbolts and locks and residential applications. You can apply this to a typical deadbolt that will accept a standard key and knob cylinder and be able to have restricted keyway key control for smaller homes or smaller residential jobs just as well as you can the larger commercial jobs. For more information, check out HL Flake.
Okay, so you can see there that was the tailpiece kit that comes with the key and knob cylinder. That's why I said it's kind of important to watch the videos too, so you can see exactly what it comes with. That's going to be the end of the video, so I'll be happy to answer any more questions as they come along. But for the most part, hopefully we're just kind of getting the main idea of where this system applies, what you can use it on, and the rules that are going to follow it. Lots of questions on how it compares with Schlage, LFIC, the GMS. John, you do make a GMS housing for that LFIC system. I believe that's what I used, correct?
Yeah, we do make housings for most of the small format, large format products out there.
Okay, yeah. So, I haven't personally done it, but
We do the rim housing as well as the mortise.
Right. Yeah. So you can buy GMS housing, or if there's already another brand, if there's already Schlage or whatever on there, it'll go right into that as well. One thing that a lot of people don't think about either is drawer locks. Like, you can convert your key and knob cylinder to this Olympus lock, and I mean, you can lock up filing cabinets. This was a really, really big job we did. Probably about 50 cylinders on location, everything from panic bars, and they were extremely happy to know that we could incorporate this to their filing cabinet system as well, because it's a doctor's office that has clients' information in there. So those are great opportunities to sell this. Cell phone businesses and doctor's offices where there's client information, or financial places like auto dealerships where there's financial information in there, social security numbers and applications for credit applications. Those are all great opportunities to sell this product. And then here we are, all lined out again. Once again, we want to thank McDonald Dash, HL Flake, International Key Supply, H.E. Mitchell, all the rest. They've got the whole country covered up, and they can get you just about anything you need in a very, very short amount of time. Probably the best, most knowledgeable sales staff. And anytime that there is a miscommunication with an order, they always make it right and always take care of it. And that I've never dealt with another supplier that was more upfront and honest and easy to deal with than HL Flake. Going through this system here, I will open up questions at the end of the show, but we want to get through this. If you take this webinar, you get a free 30-day trial for taking the class at wayneslockshop.com, the largest online collection of videos dedicated to furthering the education of the professional locksmith. It's all vetted, so it is a paid-for website, but you can get a 30-day free trial. You're not going to find any more education in one spot. All of these webinars that we do, they go right up into Wayne's Lock Shop, so you can access them at any time at your convenience, whether you want to learn at home or whether you need to learn on the job. Also, during this pandemic and during this time through this course, I am still offering the very limited lifetime offer for $250 lifetime membership to wayneslockshop.com. That is not going to last very much longer, guys. If you're interested in it, jump on it now. Shoot me an email, fill out an application at wayneslockshop.com, and let me know that you want to get on that. There's lots more classes coming, and there's lots of them that we've done. I'll hand it back over to you, Travis.
All right. So I guess we've already answered. There was one other question here about the Aero tailpiece. Was that already answered? If you apply this system to an Aero setup and you order the Aero MX compatible tailpiece, is there an additional cost? Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're having to order a separate tailpiece, yeah, there would be a small cost for that additional.
Is there a package, John? Like, if they call in and they say, I need to order this for an Aero or a Sargent lock, do they get that as a package, or do they order the cylinder and order a separate bag of tail pieces that goes with it?
The Aero, the difference in the Aero one is not in the tailpiece, it's in the back configuration of the cylinder. If you use the turn knob that you demonstrate on your key and knobs there, that's too large for many Aero products. So there's the old C-clip that goes in there that is small, so it's a different product. The Sargent one, it's the same thing, only the difference is in the front of the product on the cylinder and face of the cylinder. It's actually smaller to fit through the hole. That's the differences. The tailpiece packages are the same.
So to 100% clarify, if they order a lock replacement for an Aero, if they want an MX cylinder for an Aero knob, they need to specify that when they order it, and it will come with all of the things needed to put it into that housing. Yes?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, right, perfect. So it's not buy the cylinder and then order additional tail pieces, just order the correct cylinder that's going into your application to begin with.
Buy the correct Aero one, then you'll be set up. Otherwise, you're going to have interference in the back of the lock when you put it into the cylinder, into the lock.
Right. Right. Perfect. And then there's one more question over here. Does HL Flake sell that nut spinning tool? Yeah, I got that from HL Flake. It's a cap screw removal tool. You can ask your supplier about it. Really handy. Very handy.
All right. Anybody have any other questions? And I saw during, as we were going through, there were a few people that raised their hand. At this point, if you want to raise hand and ask the question that way, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
All right.
I'm happy to answer whatever.
Yeah, I came in late. This is Buyer's Lock Shop. Question, I have an MX8 system. Can we get that integrated into any iCore system or not?
Large format only.
Large format, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
If you want small format, you'd have to go with you'd have to get a separate MX Alpha keyway.
Yep. So MX Alpha is all SFIC. MX is LFIC, large format.
Okay.
I want to be clear on that. The MX Alpha will also work on large format. The two will
Right.
work together.
Right.
So-
I'm trying not to overload and confuse
Gotcha.
people too much. But
And,
yeah.
and MX Alpha is also available from HL Flake.
If you're interested in the MX Alpha system or you're interested in an SFIC system, I would highly recommend you take the class on that, and you can see the differences between the two and make sure you figure out which product you want to go with. Now, John Nolan likes to do the SFIC. I don't do any SFIC. So this MX product works for me. The Alpha system works for him, and it's very versatile. It's all of the same things. MX is to Schlag as Alpha is to best A2 pinning. Hopefully that clears it up as clear as possible. In fact, Alpha is actually a little bit more diverse because you can pin up regular locks and LFIC too. So there's more options with Alpha. I just don't choose to deal with any of the SFIC formats.
So you're saying that the Alpha has a shoulder stop also?
Oh boy, that's the debate of the century.
How is it working on iCore and standard cylinders?
That's the great debate of the century. John Nolan's working on exactly how that works. John Greening probably has the best answers, but everything A2 pinning or best is going to be tip stop. But I think Alpha is this weird hybrid.
On ours, it's actually a shoulder stop.
Shoulder stop.
Right. Alpha, it's a shoulder stop.
The shoulder stop.
So it has a tip stop and a shoulder stop or not?
It has the tip. It has the tip of the key to actuate the back of the cam, but it is a shoulder for the cutting and pinning. It is a shoulder stop.
But you said the Alpha works in iCore, small format iCore, and so it must have a shoulder stop at the head and a tip stop on the bottom, like a conventional iCore key.
Yes.
It has both.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, Alpha, and that's where Alpha gets a little confusing. Like all your pinning, anything best or I2 or interchangeable core, SFIC, is going to be tip to bow, but Alpha's the hybrid that if you're spacing or pinning or cutting, it goes bow to tip. But that's because it works on two different platforms. It works on SFIC and it works on LFIC and it works on, they have standard lock cylinders too, don't they, John?
Yeah.
Like you can buy a key and knob Alpha. You can buy key and knob Alpha. You can buy mortise Alpha. You can buy mortise rim Alpha. Does anybody else have any questions on that particular subject or just any other questions in general? How do I try Wayne's Lock Shop for 30 days? Just fill out an application, and then there's a little note section in the bottom, just says free trial. Put in free trial. You have to send in your credentials, though, because it is a vetted page. Price comparison for key blanks compared to DND SC4s. I mean, the key blanks are going to be more expensive, but I charge more for them. I don't know exactly how much they are, wholesale or retail, but it's more of a how much do you want to charge? I charge for an SC4 DND duplicate, I charge $4. For MX, I charge $8. So the profit margin is more with the MX system for me personally.
Just off the top of my head, an MX key. I mean, if a box of 50 is about $50, so they're about a dollar a key. I don't remember what a D&D SC4 cost is.
Right. And there's a bunch of different manufacturers, so it's just going to depend on the manufacturer and stuff.
Right.
But I think the MX key, it's a heavier duty key. The milling is more solid. You're not going to deal with a lot of the, key breaking and stuff like that happens with other keyway systems. It's a superior key. It looks different. It feels different. And the customer usually doesn't have a problem. That's where you recoup some of your money is with those key blanks and duplication, because they have to come back to you. So if you're charging $8 a pop and they need 40 keys, you just got yourself a payday, Does it work with MTech? MTech usually has its own weird cylinder stuff. I don't want to say that it would, because I think with my experience out in the field with the MTech high-end residential grade hardware, the cylinder is always weird and narrow, and a regular Schlage key and knob cylinder usually doesn't go into the housing without modification. So again, we're going to go back to supply a different deadbolt or supply a different lever on those residential applications. Just to be sure, Alpha keys as best. Yeah, it follows A2 pinning rules. So spacing and depth is going to be A2 pinning. Correct, John?
Correct.
Okay. Hopefully that answers those questions. Hopefully the main points that we want to drive home with this webinar is the differences between restricted keyway and high security, and then the differences between MX and Alpha, and really how to sell the program and get people to buy it. Why do they need this, and how can you have some tips in your pocket, in your hip, ready to go to answer that customer's question. You don't want to just say, hey, I've got this different lock here. This is better. And they're going to look at you and say, well, why is it better? Okay, well, here's all your different options. Look up YouTube, look up key bumping, look up lock picking, look up key kiosks. Those are the selling points that are going to be able to let you drive this home. I'm having over 80% success rate when I pitch this product to my customer, with them actually biting into it. Can we also buy them through Rich? I left him a voicemail, so now I just wait. Yeah, and go to your normal contact.
Yeah, I mean, Rich has been somewhat inundated because we've done 2 of these webinars now, and he's just on the front counter. So Houston has started to get more busy. We've had more locksmiths coming through the door. So Rich is just busy. He'll get back to you though.
Does HL Flake offer an option to buy them already pinned if you do it for best cores? You guys pin up best interchangeable cores, so I don't see why they couldn't do that. I don't know how you charge.
Yeah, I mean, we do pinning some best only out of Memphis. I don't know that we've had requests for that for Alpha, but yeah, I guess we could look into that.
I bet you if you had a big enough order, if you wanted to order some to either just have on the truck ready to go, or if you had a specific customer like a bank or a cell phone chain or something like that, where you had 25, 50, 100 cores, I bet you if you came to HL Flake and said, hey, I got 100 cores, can you guys pin them up for me and cut keys? I'm betting they'd probably find a way to make that work.
Right. And yeah, Rich is always busy. So we may, Alex is actually helping Rich right now with these. So, but just, it'll go through Rich in order to do the mapping and figure out the zones. So.
Right, but you still want to just call your regular
rep,
and they will give you the pricing and be able to send you everything. The only thing that Rich is really involved in is the contract and getting people set up with it. Looks like we have a question about MX 1, 8, and 12. How is each locksmith key unique keyway? So it's different milling, right, John Greening? It's like you can't take a 12.
The mills are different. They're different broach.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just different key milling. Already pinned. Okay. So any other questions? Last chance for questions. Get them all in now. I'm happy to answer any more.
And I'll pull up the screen share to talk about just the buy-in. I know it was mentioned, but these are the basic guidelines that we go by. Really, we try to define the market size. so a small market we're defining as less than 36,000 population. And so the buy-in for that is basically 25 cylinders, and you pick if you want key and knob or mortise or rim or, whatever makes sense for you. And then, so it's 25 cylinders and 50 keys. So that's approximately 350. It depends on what cylinders you choose. And then so for medium-sized market, that's basically from you're larger than 36,000 and up to 750,000 in population. And this really covers a lot of the country. So the buy-in for that is 50 cylinders and 100 keys. And then if you're in a large market, like a major metro where, you're over 750,000 people and up, then the buy-in is 70 cylinders and 100 keys. So that's approximately 1,000.
So I got a question on here. Multiple locksmiths have the same broach or broach. We're referring to keyway. So multiple locksmiths have 1, 8, and 12? Yes, you can, but each one's going to require its own contract and its own terms and its own buy-in. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question, Aaron. Yes, you can have multiple ones, but you'd have to be doing a tremendous amount of business in order to make it profitable to invest in all 3 different keyways. But if your shop is in, a big metropolitan area, if you're in LA or, a big city, then yeah, you can definitely do that. Can't find cap screw remover. Just ask your supplier. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. I think it's a cap screw removal tool. So what protects my key? So what protects my keyway? Well, the contract protects your keyway. The contract between GMS and HL Flake, and the contract between HL Flake and you. That's what protects your keyway. So we'll go back to that. If another locksmith is in your area and they copied a key that is cut by your shop and has your stamp on it, they're in violation of contract. You can file a grievance. You can let your supplier know, get pictures, get proof. Make sure you can provide proof. We can't go off of he said, she said nonsense. You got to have proof. And then you can go back and say, hey, this guy's cutting my keys. This is not what we agreed to in the contract. And they will most likely pull the supply of that product, and they won't have any more to cut any more keys. Did that answer your question, hopefully? Any locksmith with that broach can cut my keys. Not if it's stamped. That was part of the presentation, is that no, if it's stamped, you cannot service that system. You cannot cut that key, and you cannot do anything with it without permission from that locksmith.
That is one of the differences between the LSDA program with their keyway, the LSA keyway. Any locksmith that buys from IDN can take that key and go into any job and do it. It's open to anybody.
Which one is that? The Alpha?
No, earlier there was a question about LSDA.
Oh, yes.
System. Any locksmith can buy that keyway at any time and go to any job and go anywhere he wants to use it, because it's just a common keyway at this point.
Will HL Flake will have most stuff in stock for a will call? I've never called and needed any MX product and HL Flake didn't have it. If I call and say I need it tomorrow, they put it in a box and they send it out. They've always got it. I've never had any supply issues. Yeah,
we do our very best to not run out of MX, because we realize we're the only place that you can get it. So, I'm not going to say there haven't been times where we have.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. We get hit with a big order from somebody, or, occasionally there's some lead times that get a little bit long, but, we do our best to try to keep it in stock.
Right, and that's going to be up to the individual owner of the shop as well. I personally I probably have 70 different cylinder options on the truck at any given point in time. So let's say, for me personally, if I had a customer and they need 100 cylinders and I've only got 50, I will accept the job and I'll go rekey the perimeter. I'll go put my current stock that I have on the perimeter, and then I'll come back and just order the stuff. It'll get overnighted. I'll have it here the next day and then start rekeying the interior. You can still accept that project and get that order in. But I would recommend you'd want to be able to do any job that has 10 to 20 locks on it at any given point in time. So you keeping that lock stock on your truck is going to be more on you than waiting for the supplier. But I have never had any supplier issues. All righty. Any more questions?
So I have to jump off here in a minute. We have the weekly business roundtable that starts here in just a few minutes. So I have to jump off here. So we have a promotion that I just want to mention now through the end of the month. If you buy in with a new contract, you basically get to double your keys for free, and you get a free pinning mat. So basically if you're in the small market and you do the lower buy-in, you get 50 free keys. If you're in the medium or the large market, you get 100 free keys and a free pinning mat.
Sweet.
So, yep. Well, yeah, I'll leave this open. I'm not going to close the meeting, but I have to jump off and help coordinate getting that. There's a YouTube live stream that happens every Thursday at 1 Central, and that's what we're about to start.
There's one more question for you that I can't answer. Can they go through IKS? I would assume so.
Yes, absolutely. Call your IKS rep and it all goes through Rich, but the IKS reps can certainly sell the keyways that HL Flake has.
Okay.
Oh, and lastly, let me do the drawing real quick before I jump off here. Too many windows open. There it is. Nope. All right, give me 1 second here.
I'm going to go ahead and answer another question that you got over here. Let's see. Did we say that Lishi would be able to make a tool for picking the system? I said I highly doubt that they would ever come up with that system. If I were to put money on it, I would say Lishi will never come up with an MX Lishi tool.
So do you guys see the screen that has the spinning wheel on it?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like Christopher Levin of Town Lock and Key. So Christopher, I have your email address from registering for this webinar. I will reach out to you about you'll have a $250 credit for HL Flake. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I'll answer some more questions if you guys want to hang around. If you put them over here in the box, go ahead and do so. Can people unmute their mics and talk to or no?
What I'm going to do is just hand over the host to you.
Okay.
Wayne. Make host. Okay, you're now the host. So you can, if people raise their hand, you can give them the okay.
All right. I'm not sure I know how to do that.
Under the attendee, if you click on attendee, it will, in the participant panel, if they raise their hand, you can then click on the little thing off to the side and it'll let them talk. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Bye. You too.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll try and work this as best I can. If you want to type a question in the Q&A section, that's best. Or if you want to raise your hand, we can unmute your microphone if I can figure out how to do that. But all righty, I'm not seeing a lot of participation over here. I'm not seeing any more questions being answered. I'm not seeing any hands being raised. Make sure. Okay. Yeah, last chance, guys. We'll wrap it up for questions. I'll leave it open for another minute, and then if we don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and shut it down. All right, we got people raising their hand. I'm going to go with the first one. Allow to talk. Jarom. Go ahead.
Hey, Wayne. It's Jerem. And sorry for the weird picture there.
Okay, not a problem.
Hey, I've been watching you on YouTube for a long time. I appreciate your work.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I wanted to ask the difference between 1, 8, and 12. I didn't catch the beginning of the seminar, so I just wanted to get clarification on that.
There's not a lot of difference. They're all restricted. They're just different programs. So it doesn't matter which system you buy into. It just matters that if you get one, that's going to be your keyway. If you're a big shop and you got 20 trucks running around and you have the need to buy into another system because one, you've got multiple customers that want multiple different restricted keyways, then you could buy into those different keyways again. It's not a necessity. I don't think I'd ever need multiple keyways. I'm perfectly content with one, but they do offer 3 different options for you. And I think they're the only supplier that actually gets that privilege. I think every other supplier is only one, and that's what you get. That's it.
Jaron, I think the answer to your question a little more succinctly, though, is the difference between 1, 8, and 12 is the shape of the keyway.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Answer your questions? Good, thank you. Thanks for watching, appreciate your support. We're gonna go to Roger and allow you to talk here. Go ahead and hit your microphone, Roger.
Yeah,
Hi.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
5 years ago, I purchased a business from a previous locksmith. Already was using the MX3. What is that exactly?
Go ahead, John.
MX3 is a different keyway that was sold to a different distributor.
Right, it's just a different variation of the product.
So is that restricted as all, or any locksmith in this
All
area?
all MX is restricted. We sell to HL Flake. We sell the MX1, 8, and 12. We sell the MX3 to other people. We sell the MX6 to other people. MX7 to other people. It's just dependent. But for our purposes here, it's the 1, 8, and 12.
Right. So if you bought somebody else out and you want to maintain that system, you would need to find out who they had the contract with, who the supplier was, and you would need to maintain that relationship with them. That's how you would get the product. Does that answer your question?
Just about. I mean, I know who I get it from. I'm still purchasing it from the supplier from McDonald Dash. Question is, can anybody else in my area purchase that as well?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. The one of the things that happens with mergers and acquisitions is people start getting other people's products. And earlier in the program, Flake has national distribution of 1, 8, and 12. McDonald Dash had a region that they covered because they were not a national company at the time. So they shared that keyway. I believe Stonenberg up in the Northeast has that keyway. So you have that issue that's there. Flake does. We're maintaining in certain regions McDonald Dash's MX3 program, but we're not expanding it outside where they were because other distributors have that program.
Does that answer your question, Roger?
Clear as mud?
Just about. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out would another locksmith in my area be able to purchase that and service my customers?
No, they shouldn't be able to.
I would think what happened.
The contract should be maintained by the region.
Right. So what would happen, and according to and I don't sell this stuff. I just try and give you a perspective from how to sell it as a locksmith to your customer and how to make your business more money using it and how it mechanically functions. That's basically what the class is designed to do. But I think what'll happen is if I'm locksmith X and I'm in your service area, I'm going to call up HL Flake or McDonald Dash, and I'm going to say, hey, I want a MX restricted keyway system. I took this class today. I want to be able to sell and service this system. They're going to look it up in their computer and they're going to say, okay, well, Roger has 3 in this area, so nobody else has any other keyway, so we'll sell him MX8. So he will have a GMS restricted keyway system, but it'll be a completely different one that will not work with yours. The cylinders and the keys are not going to be interchangeable in any way, shape, or form, even though both of them are an MX restricted keyway system. If you're asking if they'll be able to buy MX3 or your system, blanks and materials, I would think no. I would say that it would come up in their map and they would say, no, John or Roger has this. We can't sell that system to you. We can sell you 8 or 12 or whatever one they want to sell you. Does that sound correct?
Sounds about right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. let's see. We got Mr. Weber is gonna talk here. Allowed to talk. Go ahead. Unmute your microphone. Unmute. You raised your hand. G-I-N-N-Y.
Yeah, Jenny.
Oh, sorry, madam. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. With Premise, and I've had customers come in with another keyway. All I had to do was call Premise, and they'll tell me which locksmith has that keyway. I'll refer them to that locksmith. And that's probably done with everyone, so you can find out what keyway. He bought the business with that keyway. He needs to get hold of the manufacturer and register his name from the previous owner.
Sorry,
Hello?
somebody with a chainsaw out the window there, so I had to shut the window. So there are numbers that are on the back of the key blanks. I think they'd be able to identify the system and who has it and where the contract goes from there. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, we register all the keys in lots of 50 as we sell them to the distributor, and the distributor registers who they sell them to as the locksmith or end user. So if somebody calls and says, I got a key and has number 67321 on there, we can look up and find out what distributor we sold those keys to. We register it, and then they can trace it back to the locksmith is how it can be done.
Right, and Glenn brings up a good point. It shouldn't be this difficult. If it's operated and maintained the way it's supposed to be, they need to have their stamp with their company name and phone number right on it. That's how it's supposed to be maintained, and that's how they should find out who to go to.
Some people don't.
Some people don't, correct, but they are improperly using the system.
But the guy that just bought the business is the one I'm saying get a hold of the manufacturer and get his name on to that contract.
Okay, so that's let me put it this way, John. If I have a key blank and somebody brings it in, and I call you personally direct, and I give you the number, you can tell me who supplied it.
I personally can't, but I can find the person who can.
we'll get to the bottom of it. Is the point? Yes. Yeah. We'll find out who it is. We can track it down through the number.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed you guys today.
All righty. Well, thank you for attending, and I'm glad you raised your hand and asked. That was a very, very good question. Thank you very much. You have a good day.
Okay, bye.
All right. Anybody else want to raise their hand or have any questions? Go ahead and do so now. All righty. We'll give it just a couple of minutes, and if nobody else raises their hand or answers anything on the Q&A side, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up and call it a successful webinar. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Hopefully we were able to clear up a few things. There's always going to be some gray area with a restricted keyway system, but the best thing to do is just maintain a really good relationship with your supplier, and they'll guide you down the right path to get you the answers that you need and the product that you need to do so. That's going to be your best first step, and your best resource is your supplier. And thank you, John Greening, for joining us. I always love to have a manufacturer rep here. This is why we put together these classes and how we operate them, and make sure that all of the information is as accurate as possible. If I don't have the answer to your question, John does. And if John doesn't have it and I don't have it, the supplier with Travis probably does. So one way or another, we should be able to get all your questions answered, and we try and make sure that we have the most accurate information available to date for you. These systems, these programs do change from year to year too, so as we get new information, we do update them, and we always try and run this through the supplier or manufacturer to make sure that all the information is correct. Can you quickly go over the main points of why to use MX? Okay, so the main point, and this was the beginning portion of the class, which this will be recorded, and you should be able to get a recording through HL Flake 2. They should have a USB drive, but the main things that we were going over is tell your customer to YouTube how to pick Schlage and Kwikset locks. There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of videos available to the public. There's hundreds and thousands and millions of search results for lock bumping, and there's key kiosks. So security, restricted keyway control, not letting the kiosk cut keys, unauthorized lock bumping. They're not going to be able to get a key blank to be able to make a bump key, and even if they do, it's got serrated pins inside, so it's not going to be very effective. Even if they do, but they're still not really going to be able to get a hold of a key blank, and there's going to be 12 different ones. So security, no leashy tools, pick resistance, lock bumping, and key control. Those are the main options to go with MX, and it is affordable and it's easy to use. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, last chance. Raise your hand or post a question. We're going to wrap it up in just a minute if we don't get anybody that has any more questions. Countdown 30 seconds. All righty, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, John Greening. Definitely appreciate having you here. Thank you for all of your input and answering questions. Good luck. Go out there, at least investigate the system and try it out for yourself. I have found this is a great way to increase revenue for my business. So with that, have a great day and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.